go for it. Just get out there and do it. But make sure you get a good mentor behind you or somebody you can talk to. It's not going to be easy in an all-male dominated industry like I work in. But if you treat the guys with respect and listen to them and not be pushy and bossy and just work alongside them, then you will get a long way and get well respected within the industries. But just do it. We need more females in these industries.
This is the Ryan Marketing Show, and you're listening to episode 80 of 100. Today on the show, I have Carol McMillan from Angus McMillan Concrete in Hastings, Hawke's Bay. And we're going to be talking about everything that goes into building the foundations of a lot of the buildings around town, and that is the pouring and setting of concrete. Great to have you on the show, Carol.
Thank you.
So first question, how did you or your family, how did you get into the business of concrete?
Well, Angus has his trade certificate in carpentry, and he was approached when he was building Lockwoods if he would go in with another gentleman and start their own company doing concrete. It was some 30 years ago now, and that happened. We did have a few years out, and then we started our own company, Angus McMillan Concrete, back in 1994.
And what does it take to do a great job pouring concrete? Like how do you know when you're doing your quality control that that's a great job?
Well, it's not just about the pouring or placing and finishing of concrete. It's about what you do before that as well. So your prep and your groundwork and your organisation to make sure everything's going to be right, deciding on what strength of concrete you need depending on what the usage is going to be for that particular job, floor, driveway, needs to all be considered. And then also you need to consider the weather conditions and the cutting and lots of other factors as well. So there's a lot of planning, thought and organisation goes into before you even start the job.
Right, so a lot of the things that we see with pouring concrete as the general public or in the trade actually aren't happening on site. It's everything you're doing back in the office to prep for those concrete pour days. Yeah,
we have to do a lot of prep. We have to be watching the weather forecast every day. We keep an eye on that maybe a week, 2 weeks out. We need to make sure we have the right staff on site because some jobs, if it's a little job, you might only need 3 or 4 staff. If it's a bigger job, we might need to bring some of our other team into the job as well. We can be placing up to 1,000 or more square metres a day, so therefore we need quite a few staff. Also, we do place and finish with other contractors, but if we do it ourselves, then it's organising the pumps and all those sorts of things on site, and sometimes they're booked up for a week or so as well. So there is a lot of thought and consideration and talking with others and working through what needs to happen. And it depends on the finish as well. If we have a ground floor, we need to be talking with clients well before we start the process so as to know exactly what they need, because it's not just a ground floor. There's 3 or 4 options when it comes to that as well. So lots and lots of choices and lots of thought.
So on the weather side of it, we're quite lucky in general in Hawke's Bay to have very good weather most of the time. Yet in the last 48 hours we've had torrential rain. What does that mean for the projects you have on the go?
So it's not just the rain. Most people think that it's just the rain that makes us put off jobs, but it's not just the rain. If it's too hot and too windy, we would consider putting certain jobs off as well. If we're doing colour jobs or stamped concrete, we would consider that would be adverse conditions that we would not want to do those particular jobs in either. But when it comes to the rain, we do try and we might have some in-job side jobs. So some of our commercial work, they will have the roofs on, which is an advantage because, once again, with the heat of Hawke's Bay, you don't want it to dry out too fast because that's when you start getting cracking, surface cracking and stuff like that. So you really just have to be watching what the weather is. And often we will start at midnight, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning to get the concrete on the ground so as to get finished in good time before that heat actually hits the concrete and can cause problems.
Is that to give you more time on the project before it sets? So if it's too hot, your window's too narrow to work on it?
That, and along with the fact that it's 7 a.m. in the morning, every other man and his dog wants concrete as well, so we get a good supply of concrete. Our guys can empty a truck in a very short time, but if we have to compete with Joe Bloggs and all the others doing foundations and all sorts of other concrete pours, we have to wait for concrete and we can't get that good flow, and then we end up with something that we call cold joints, where the one lot of concrete set and the new lot comes up to it and you end up with an ugly joint in the concrete. So for us, it's a case of starting early, getting it on the ground so as we get a nice flow and a nice finish without too many defects in it.
Okay, so that brings me then on to a next question, because pouring concrete starting at midnight at night doesn't sound like it's a job for everyone. How do you find and build a great team when that's when you're pouring concrete?
That is really difficult. It doesn't suit everyone. We have people come in here looking for jobs thinking that going onto a concrete team is going to be an easy job, and they may only last a day. It is hard work. It is odd hours, because even if we start in the winter at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, our guys may be on site to midnight at night finishing that job as well. So they have to understand the hours are very varied, and they could be doing long hours or different hours. And some of the guys don't mind because they get afternoons off to spend with their families and things like that, although they might be a bit tired. It's just the way the concrete industry is.
Now, from doing a little bit of research on your website, with each of these roles that people have, there's all these names I'm not familiar with, like a digger crew or a boxing crew, concreting crew, cleanup, grinding. For someone coming into this industry, where do they start, and what's the job out of all of those that everyone wants to be on that crew? That's the fun part.
So digger crew is you have to have qualifications to operate diggers and bulkheads and trucks. So you need class 2, 4 to be able to operate in that crew really well. Our boxing crews are the guys on the ground boxing up the jobs, and we do have labourers in those crews. So they work alongside our qualified guys that have been around for a long time. And the concrete crew is the guys that are doing the concrete. So we have our guys that have been doing that for quite some time. We do have labourers who work in there as well. The grinding and the cleaning, they are a smaller crew. They tend to be just the same crew. They don't really have too much change there. But they go out and clean off. If we do exposed aggregate, they wash those off. They do the cutting and clean up any messes and things like that might happen. We try to make it that our staff are versatile in the concrete and the boxing. So many of our staff can box and concrete. The concreters tend to be, some of them can box or they do go labouring a bit, but because we're basically pouring every day, they don't get many opportunities to do that. There is no one real position that people like more than others. They just tend to fall into where they seem to best fit, and we can tell within a few days whether they're going to fit the boxing side or the concrete side and where we will need to do some work with them, or even if they're not going to fit at all, because people just don't realise the hard work that is involved in our industry.
Because it is such it's a heavy set material you're dealing with, and once it has set, that's the end of it. There's no going back and resetting it without some significant work. When you've got a team that's as experienced as yours, usually with any industry, and some of the interviews I've done so far, they talk about looking for the next challenges. What are some of the projects when they come across your desk, they really push your team?
So our mainstream is, well, 40 to 50% of our work would be doing the domestic driveway. And some of those might involve doing sets of steps or step downs. And they're always a bit challenging because we like to do them a Pacific way, so we can actually strip the fronts and face up so you have the same finish as what you've got on the top as on the sides, so as it all looks very uniform. We also do and can do floors, so we will box up floors, do the foundations and everything required for those. Those are definitely more challenging, and we don't have too many staff on that can do those, so we tend to leave those for the builders and the like for doing those, but we can do smaller ones if our builders are a bit quieter and require us to do that. We have a team which is led by Angus himself that are known as our skate park crew, and that's what they concentrate on. Now they're on their 6th skate park at this stage, within 4 years, and have got a really good name for doing a really good job, because with those you need to have a very good smooth surface, because when guys come off their skateboards they want to be able to just slide down it and not injure themselves. If you have too many bumps they end up with bruises and grazes all over their legs, but also they need the speed as well. So with doing those, that definitely we do pull other members in, and they have definitely learned some formwork, very interesting formwork skills which they have had to learn and work through and work with.
Where are all these skate parks being built?
So to date we started with the Hastings Nelson Park, William Nelson skate park in Hastings. The person who was supposed to do that could not do it, so we put in a tender with another company that was local that does not exist anymore. And we knew we had the skills that we could do it, because Angus has done formwork for years. He's done lots of culverts and things like that on the Napier-Taupo Road, so he knew he had the skills to be able to cope with that. So we put in our proposal and it was accepted, so that gave us a chance to start into the skate parks. So once we completed that, we had Taupo Council come to us and ask us if we would price Turangi skate park, which we did. And then when we finished Turangi, they just came to us and negotiated with us to do Menkakino. And since then we have done the Napier redevelopment over there, the skate park with MCL Construction, and the Havelock North one, and now we're in Palmerston North building a bowl. We're currently speaking with 2-3 other councils within a 5-hour radius of here, and there is every opportunity that we may get 2 or 3 of those as well.
That's amazing, because you're now moving into an area where it's not just a finished surface that's the foundation of a building or a driveway for cars, but this is really a surface that allows kids to get air or to help them be safe when they miss the landing. Where I've interviewed someone who is in this space where it's as much art as it is science, is there a point where you have to go back to the designer of the skate parks and say, look, I really like your design, but it's just that's not physically possible with a concrete? Or is it the other way around, where you can say to them, hey, we can make that incline slightly higher, or we can do things that are further than what your design has specified?
So the designer of the skate parks that we've been doing, we work very closely with him. Angus is the one who has a lot of skill in our company, and he's the one that passes that on. He has been involved in many different groups throughout the years, designing and working on different specifications and things. So he has a pretty good idea of what can and can't be done, and he will speak with the designer and say, no, that can't be done, or if we do it this way, that will work, or can we do this? And that has come through in the designer's plans, so they work very closely.
Now, with any industry, technology always plays a part, and being at the forefront of it helps keep you competitive and also enables new things to happen. What are some of the things in the concrete industry where technology, you're investing in technology or bringing new ideas to bear to help your customers?
So I guess for us, technology, most people would think of computers and things like that, but I guess for us, technology would come in the way of machinery that is better for doing different aspects of what we do. So we as a company locally here own 3 ride-on trailing machines, which finish our floors to a much better professional finish than a walk-behind trail can, because you've got a bigger surface and they're heavier, so therefore you end up with flatter floors. We have looked at different technology options. We have wanted to find payroll and things like that, but for what we do and the complexity of the different things that we do, we haven't been able to find anything that suits what we want to do, so we're still working with different people. We use computers and things like that, obviously, and just try and work through different things, but we still find that doing it the manual way is better in some things, so we continue to do it that way. Angus and I travel overseas at least once a year to a thing called World of Concrete. World of Concrete. Who would think that such a thing exists? But World of Concrete is in Las Vegas. It is in January, February of each year. It is a week-long convention, because it's American, it's convention. And we do seminars there. They have a trade show. They have something like 100,000 or maybe 700,000 people go through the whole complex in the week that it's there. And we go to see what is new, what we can add. We look at different programs and things over there to see if they will fit with what we're doing, and always keeping an eye on what's going on.
It's a smart thing to do, because I've just come back from New York for a week of social media, which for some people would be their worst nightmare. For me, I'm in my element, and that's where the forefront of marketing and comms innovation is. Is America, is Vegas, is that the country that's at the forefront of technology and concrete, or that just happens to be where the conference is?
So America, it is mainly around Americans, but they do have other countries that bring stuff in. The Asian countries and things like that have stands and that there. America definitely is advanced in some things, but I also would say that they are lagging behind in some things as well. But lots of people go, and it's a great opportunity to catch up with people, and we've been going out there for about 12 years now, so it's great for us to go and catch up with lots of friends that we have and just discuss where issues are, what's going on, and we come up with solutions by doing that. So it's just a great opportunity to do that. There is probably something else further afield, but we just find America, we can work with them, and it works really well for us.
Now, onto the marketing side of things. One of the themes that have come through from interviewing people in trade companies is that there is a real focus and emphasis around your network of suppliers and partners and people in the ecosystem that are building houses, commercial property, and so on. Is your company, is marketing a focus, or is it more on existing relationships within those ecosystems?
So for us, we're probably a little bit different. We, having been in the business for something like 24 years now, we've changed our focus and changed the direction of our company several times, depending on the market and depending on what's going on, and we're always watching that. We want to put ourselves in a niche area so that we specialise and knowing that we specialise in those areas. Skate parks is a good example of that. We also now have 4 diggers and have just bought a bigger truck as well. So we're well known that we can do the whole job right from the start to the finish. So 40 to 50% of our work would be the domestic driveway. We've worked for a lot of builders over the years and found that we just, because of our structure and the size of our company, we run something like 28 staff at present. We can't compete with the 1, 2, 3 men guys when it comes to doing those home builders, and the home builders are competing against other home builders, so it's really difficult for them. So we don't have any home builders as such that we work for. We do work for 2 or 3 larger construction companies, and we work really closely with them. 1 in particular, or 2 in particular, we do a lot of work for, and they just get us in because they also are short on work, so we do a lot of their leg work as well when that happens as well. As far as marketing goes, we don't advertise a lot. We just tend to advertise when some of our builders are, they might have finished a great project, so we might just put an ad in to congratulate them and support them. We're quite strategic and think carefully about where we advertise and what we advertise. And with the year's experience, we know what works and what doesn't work and where best to put ads. We do the green, I call it the Green Home Show, but the one at Pettigrew Green Arena. We're going to do that again this year, but we tend to do that every 3 or 4 years just to keep our name out there and with the public. And we're just working on our website. And we have a Facebook page which generates quite a lot of, I think you have to be modern and go where people are these days. So I try and keep as modern as possible. So we work on that as well.
I did see on your website that there were a couple of time-lapse videos that, you know, we were just talking about the technology side and that you've got these ride-on machines that smooth over. Like, I've got a visual picture because I saw that time-lapse. Was that house in Taradale, or was that further afield?
Yeah, no, that would have been one of the home builders we worked at that time. We are working on a new website at present, and that is due to go live once I finish loading the data.
What's the experience been like upgrading the website?
Just a lot of time, and we've built it completely new, so it's completely different. So yeah, just loading all the data is quite time consuming when you're trying to do other things as well. So hopefully next week I will have it in a position where we can get it on and then just add from there, really. So
it's that massive amount of work to get something that's 80% there, and then you evolve it over time, and then 3 years later you have to do it all again.
Yeah. At least with this one I actually can control it, so I actually can add and delete as I see fit. So it's probably a better situation because it means we can keep it more relevant and more up to date.
And that's the smart way to be. I mean, historically, the web agencies were about, they'll do all that for you, but that slows you down, or it costs too much to get small changes done. So, you know, being able to control that owned website means it'll always be more up to date. So then, fast forward a little bit, Carol, into, 5 years from now, 10 years, where is Angus McMillan Concrete? What's the vision or goal for the business?
So in 10 years' time, Angus will be at retirement age as it is at the moment. So we have been working on, would be nice for him to be able to go down to 2 or 3 days a week and just be the guy that hangs out the back, but there for advice and things like that. It's not in his vocabulary to retire, but he would like some more time to do the things that he really wants to do. We do have 3 children, and our company has been built on family values. That's how our company started. Our children, in those days when we first started, could actually go on site and actually help their father placing and finishing concrete. At 14 years of age, our daughter was screeding concrete at what is known as Pack and Save here in Hastings, being watched by many people who she didn't know. So our children are quite skilled. So 8 months ago, our middle son was working in our little trade shop that we have, and we found that our quantity surveyor was too busy, so he came over and started measuring driveways and things like that. When our quantity surveyor left in July, our son stepped up and now is doing the quantity surveying himself and measuring all the driveways and things like that. So he's come into the business and doing an awesome job, and very proud and very happy with where he's heading. Our youngest son has just come back in January and also is wanting to be part of the company, and looking forward, they're looking at being the guys that take the company on and take the company forward. Our youngest son has a diploma in civil engineering, and he also is a registered drain layer as well. He just has to do a bit more work to become a licensed drain layer, or the other way around. So he just has a bit more work to do on that. So we want to add some drain laying to our company as well. So the two boys are really keen to move the business forward and keep moving with it. Our daughter at some stage may come back. She does help with the marketing side of our company, so she does work for us still on a part-time basis. And her husband is a concrete pumper, so there are options available if they come back or when they come back of what might happen there as well. So there's great opportunities and a great future for Angus McMillan Concrete, or if you see our logo, you will see that we have AMC on there, and that has been just brought into our logo in the last year just for moving forward, and if the kids want to change it and rename it to AMC in the future, so we still have that connection with what our company is.
I really like how you've done that too, because just picking up on what you said around the company's being founded around family values, that's fantastic that you've got kids who want to be part of that business. I guess the question then is, usually the younger generation wants to move much faster in various directions than the established owners who have seen what's worked and it's gone this way. Is there, how do you balance that friction between knowing what's working right now and where they want to head it?
I guess we're really lucky, and our children have been around a long time, so they have actually seen the changes and seen the hardships and things that we've had to deal with and gone through. So therefore they're not, although they are wanting to push some things and they are discussing that with us and working with us on that, and we are happy for that to happen, they're not really pushing new ideas really hardly. So there's a good discussion process going on, and it's actually quite amicable and working really, really well for us. And I know that doesn't happen for every family. And 5 years ago, we would have said that none of our children were going to come back into our business, and we were going through what are we going to do. So this has been a great result in the last couple of years for us.
That's fantastic. Well done. I don't know how that's come about, but that's certainly when you've put so much time and effort into a business over so many years, to know that it's going to be in good hands when you retire, it must give you a really good feeling.
It does, and we probably never will retire. We'll always be there to help them and help them work through things. So, that's what it's all about. So, family means everything to us.
And outside of work, what keeps you busy?
Do you really want to know that? Where do I start? So my passions outside of work are, my number one passion is Girl Guiding New Zealand. I have been a leader. I've been involved in girl guiding for over 20 years. I started on a support team with my daughter and then became a leader from there when the leaders left. I currently am a trainer with them, and I have just taken on a national role in properties, national facility advisor, and I look after 3 properties here locally in the Hawke's Bay for Girl Guiding New Zealand. So one of them is a complex where we have people coming and going on a regular basis where they stay. It's accommodation and stuff like that. I also am the president of Hastings Host Lions at present, and work locally here with local communities, and really enjoy doing that. And then I'm also on, that's why I say, where do you want me to start? I also am a firm believer that when you work in an industry, you need to put back to that industry. So Angus and I have both been involved in the New Zealand Master Concrete Places Association, and I am currently on the board and working on some fairly big projects involved with that as well. So yeah, and then we have 6 grandchildren, which I do a school run for in the afternoons now for 2 of them, and yeah, just busy.
Sounds very busy. So just a last question on the Girl Guide side of things, because today is International Women's Day.
Yes.
And My question is, what advice do you have for young women entering business who ultimately would like to end up in a leadership role like yourself? What should they be doing?
Go for it. Just get out there and do it. But make sure you get a good mentor behind you or somebody you can talk to. It's not going to be easy in an all-male dominated industry like I work in. But if you treat the guys with respect and listen to them and not be pushy and bossy and just work alongside them, then you will get a long way and get well respected within the industries. But just do it. We need more females in these industries, and if you're looking short on confidence, get involved in Girl Guides, because if you're a leader, you build up that confidence and then you can do more. But there is a woman in construction here in New Zealand that deal with the building side of things. Get involved in something like that, get some support behind you, and there's plenty of us that are happy to support anybody that wants to be involved in the industries.
Great. So if there's someone listening that wants to get into the industry, they can give you a
Talk
call.
to me, that's fine. Yeah,
Add
love
it to the list.
Yeah, I'm just, about helping people. Just love helping people, so it's great.
It's been a fantastic chat with you today, Carol. I really enjoyed hearing about the business and about your own personal story and just how much you've actually got on the go. So we're probably way over time now, so I'm going to let you get on with your day, because I know you've got projects to juggle and websites to launch. And really good luck in the future. And I'm looking forward to seeing not only where you and Angus take it, but then the next generation as they really step up. So well done for what you've managed to create.
Thank you, and I look forward to hearing what you get up on the site.
Well, this is the 80th, so I've got 20 more to do, and then the project's complete.
Well done. You're doing well.
Thanks.
You'll be glad when it's done.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers. If you like this episode, remember to subscribe for free on iTunes. Simply search for The Ryan Marketing Show in the iTunes Store.